Sauron, the Lord of the Rings.
And Spawn, who managed to dethrone both Satan and God. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Within the timeless halls, at the dawn of creation, the supreme god Eru and his angelic Ainur created all of existence through a single harmonious song.
But one of these angels just had to be a rebel. Melkor ruined that harmony, giving the world its many, many imperfections, like Wiz. Then after messing up God's hit single and going rogue, Melkor took up a new name just to be even more meddled, Morgoth.
Morgoth's power was impressive, daunting. Several Maiar, essentially lower-ranked angels, joined him in his frightening conquest of the world he had helped create.
And the greatest of these followers was one obsessed with destroying all life in the pursuit of bringing about complete order.
He used to be Myron, but under Morgoth's reign, he became the one and only Sauron.
As the bigwig of Morgoth's forces, Sauron spent thousands of years bringing Middle-earth to its knees.
He's almost more a force of nature than anything else, able to create infernos, cause country-spanning earthquakes, and even absorb souls.
And because he's a weird angel spirit man, he can morph his body around his own soul however he wants, or just shed it like clothing and fight as a ghost!
He can morph far beyond that. He has appeared as something akin to both man and elf, attractive and devious. A werewolf, once thought to be the greatest wolf of all, and even a vampire.
Oh man, Tumblr's gonna go nuts with that.
Many of his greatest accomplishments are not due to his powerful magics and weaponry, but his inhuman cunning. Sauron is nothing less than a master of manipulation.
He's like if Loki and Satan did a fusion dance. He loves to trick someone with illusions, shadow magic, or just by toying with their sad, predictable, pathetic human emotions. Like when he convinced Saruman to join the evil side, who was basically a super wizard specifically meant to lead the charge against Sauron.
In some ways, Sauron is actually wiser than the master he served. In the most epic war to eclipse all other wars, humans, dwarves, elves, and more united to destroy Morgoth, casting what remained of Melkor into the void.
But Sauron saw it coming and bailed faster than me at a divorce hearing, just to show back up centuries later in the fiery pits of Mordor.
There, the Dark Lord created a plan to conquer everything. He fooled the elven smiths into forging 19 rings of power and planted them among the leaders of elven, man, and dwarven kind, all controlled by another ring he made in secret.
The one ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. Oh god, that's so epic. Think I'm into poetry now. Forged in the fires of Mount Doom using part of Sauron's own soul, the One Ring amplified his power and let him control the minds and actions of the other ring bearers.
The 9 kings of men were especially vulnerable and saw themselves reduced to twisted wraiths bent to Sauron's whims.
It wasn't any better for the less kingly humans, so much so that Sauron mind-controlled most of Numenor. We're talking about an island nation that could have had as many as 18 million people, and Sauron had them all at his creepy, pokey fingertips.
This led to retaliation from Eru, who had hardly directly intervened ever before, even against Morgoth. Eru sank Numenor, while Sauron was still on it. But the Dark Lord's spirit persevered, indestructible even against the wrath of God.
Sauron used the ring to build himself a new body. It may have cost a lot of power, but he took a biblical event to the face and went right back on to being evil.
And yet, putting so much power into one object did have drawbacks.
Which hit back hard when Isildur subtracted a digit from his hand.
The Warrior King did more than just cut off a finger. He took the ring and its power for himself. This act forced Sauron to retreat as a disembodied spirit, threatened by his own power in the hands of another. And should the One Ring be destroyed completely, Sauron's spirit could be rendered impotent beyond repair. It isn't all bad, though. The ring can turn you invisible, create visions of impending doom, and has one hell of a defense mechanism.
Yeah, who'd want to destroy it when it makes you want it? Has a will of its own, with promises whispered even the best of us can't refuse. The greatest poultry dinner ever, Boomstick. Bourbon, pecan, parmesan, turducken. It's so precious.
What did you just do?
What? It sounded delicious! Well, ring or no ring, Sauron's a beast. He's swatted away armies of soldiers, interrupted Mount Doom through sheer willpower. He has total control over his own being, and can modify his soul at will. So he can definitely resist someone like spooky ghost Celebrimbor trying to dominate a spirit.
And being among the strongest Maiar, the peak of Sauron's power is beyond that of Osei, a lesser Maya, which is specifically important because Osei single-handedly raised the island of Numenor.
Yeah, remember that island that got Noah'd? That place. No wonder everyone wants his ring. Who could turn down that much power?
Not Isildur. The hearts of men are easily corrupted, and he kept the ring rather than destroy it. But in the end, the ring destroyed him and waited for its master's return.
Sauron was rebuilding Mordor into a world-conquering force. And after a little bit of good old-fashioned torture, he found out the ring was in the Shire. The chillest, coziest, dopest place imaginable. Ah man, when I retire, I'm gonna go live in a hobbit hole and just get lit 24/7.
And so began the War of the Ring. Sauron's forces covered the land, seeking both the ring and the downfall of man, always shadowed by the symbol of his ever-present influence, the Eye of Sauron.
It was a slaughterfest. Middle-earth stood no chance. Everybody basically accepted death by orcs as inevitable. It was hopeless. The kingdoms of men would finally fall for good.
Save for the Dark Lord's truest weakness. Sauron's cunning and stratagems were impressive, sure, but ultimately, he never truly understood the people of Middle-earth. In his mind, absolute power was factually irresistible. He never imagined a mere mortal could ever or would ever seek to actually destroy the One Ring.
Against all odds and a whole lot of walking, Sauron was defeated. Not by the sparkly new king or the armies of Middle-earth, but by the most unlikely creature imaginable, Elijah Wood.
Yet, even as a formless shadow, Sauron's legacy remains one of domination, treachery, and most of all, fear. Fitting for the being that represents, and I quote, as near an approach to the wholly evil will as is possible.
Al Simmons was trained to be a deadly, stealthy soldier and assassin, and proved numerous times he was the best of the best. But when his morality got the better of him, his boss terminated his contract permanently.
That's when Simmons met Malbogia, one of the demon lords of hell, who struck a deal with him. He'd get to see his wife again if he became captain of Hell's armies. He agreed and was reborn as a Hellspawn. But as with most demons, it tricked him, leaving Spawn with a fate worse than death. And of course, Spawn swore revenge.
Being a Hellspawn, he has superhuman strength and speed. He is nearly invulnerable and can use his own powers to heal and regenerate.
In addition, Spawn can feed or draw from the evil ores of others for the same effect. It really saves him on band-aids.
He wears a living, parasitic, symbiotic suit, named Letha of the 7th House of K.
Letha has ridiculous powers. Basically, anything she or Spawn wants to happen can happen. The suit can create and control change, claws, spikes, and morph itself into pretty much anything Spawn wants. Like a badass cape that can trap enemies and protect Spawn from all sorts of dangers.
The suit has a mind of its own and can operate while Spawn focuses on other parts of the battle. It's strong enough to easily smash through brick and fast enough to block bullets. However, Letha feeds off necroplasm energy when using the suit's powers, a hellish matter which Spawn is entirely composed of. If Letha uses too much, Spawn will be sent back to hell. However, like Spawn, Letha can also feed off the evil and sin of others.
Spawn's also got tons of magic powers. He can teleport, transform, blow things up, turn invisible, alter matter, talk to animals, fly with his cape, read minds, and open portals to heaven and hell. Holy crap!
And he can control the elements, often using fire and water to defeat swarms of enemies. However, even with all these godlike abilities, Spawn usually resorts to his most primitive weapon. As he was trained in special forces for so long, Spawn is most comfortable using a gun. He's an expert in the use of nearly any firearm imaginable.
Only two things can break through Spawn's defenses and hurt him: necro magic and holy weapons forged in heaven. In addition, he can only die if he's beheaded.
Spawn's fought and killed all sorts of powerful enemies: assassins, cyborgs, vampires, ghosts, angels, demons, other hellspawn, rampaging deities, even Satan and God. Yes, that old lady is the God.
Really? God looks like my Nana. My demigod?
And after being granted unlimited power from the mother of all things, Spawn banished God and Satan from the earth, which he wiped clean and rebuilt in his own image. He then willingly sacrificed his own god powers and eventually returned to his hellspawn form.
Oh, why the hell would he do that? He must have been really bored.
Knock, knock.
Alright, the combatants are set. We've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for an undeath battle!
I shall claim what is mine.
Your angel of death awaits.
In the body of elf or man, you are unchanged.
Perfect. You're about to feel real bad, motherfucker.
Trying to piss me off? This is pissing me off. You don't stand a chance. Die. I serve no one. Witness the prophecy of your doom. I'm sick of this. Yeah. There is no life in the void. Only death.
KO! Well, if he wasn't all-powerful before, look out for supercharged Sauron now.
Sauron's a very difficult one to beat, but Spawn's magical prowess and near indestructible body proved too much for him.
First up, both Dark Lords could counter pretty much any mind or soul-screwing powers, making a lot of their usual tricks way less noteworthy in this match.
And while much of Sauron's arsenal were forged by Morgoth's power, is composed of earthly elements, and is not another plane of existence like heaven, so it stands to reason none of Morgoth's weapons could kill Spawn.
Except the One Ring, but it wasn't enough.
Plus, Spawn and his suit had plenty of evil energy to feed on during the fight.
Well, that was one hell of a fight.
The winner is Spawn.
Spawn is funny, he's our man. If you can't kill him, no one can. Yeah.